This Sunday we're playing University of Louisiana, and we lost. Yeah. So win streak, everyone was looking at it. Man, win streak is over.
You are listening to The Gospel in the Game Sports Podcast with your host, Dan Dromarski.
Welcome to The Gospel in the Game Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Dromarski, and today you're listening to an episode with Kierston Deal. Kierston Deal is a standout athlete playing for the University of Oklahoma Sooners softball team, and she's been in some pretty big moments in her life so far. Not only is she a crucial presence in her pitching rotation, but stepping up to some pretty important moments, including the Women's College World Series. You're going to enjoy this conversation with Kierston. She loves including her faith in the sport that she plays, and the sport that she plays ties in with her faith. Very vocal, wonderful young lady. I hope you enjoy this podcast with Kierston Deal. Okay, Kierston, you're going to Chick-fil-A. You've just finished workout. Are you having sweet tea or unsweet tea?
Sweet tea, of course.
It's
of course.
Without a doubt?
Without a doubt. Being from North Carolina, sweet tea is like the common answer. You'll never hear anyone say unsweet. So when my funny story, I first went out to California and went over there, I didn't realize, I was like, oh yeah, can I have tea, please? And I just thought automatically it was sweet tea. I had never knew about anything. I get it. I drink it. I'm like, what is this? This is not good. At all. This is not good. And my mom tells me, she's like, Kierston, I guess you didn't know this, but here they don't have sweet tea. Unsweet is the typical drink if they ask for tea. And I was like, well, this makes no sense. They're missing out on everything. But yeah, so I always say sweet tea.
Okay, it makes no sense, but it makes perfect sense because they call it iced tea. So it's hot tea that's now cold.
That is true.
Yeah.
No, that is true.
Yeah, first world problems, right?
Yes. But that is funny. That is if I'm going to Chick-fil-A, that is my drink of choice. That or the blue Powerade that they have there.
Well, what?
Yeah.
Blue Powerade?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this is going to be bad. I just recently discovered the peach lemonade milkshake thing.
Oh, yes.
And,
yeah, it's new.
Yeah, it's wild. My sister told me about it. She lives in Alaska. And out of all the things an Alaskan to tell you about is something cold.
That is funny. No, we, as our team at OU, we were regulars at this Chick-fil-A. It was Chick-fil-A on 12th Street, which is right down the street from our campus at Oklahoma. And so we got to know the operators and all of the workers. And by that next week, they knew our orders to a T. They knew our exact drinks. They knew if we wanted a milkshake after practice that day. They knew it all. So us and Chick-fil-A in Oklahoma, we were close. We were tight.
I'm tight with Oklahoma. That's fantastic. Well, welcome to the Gospel in the Game podcast. I'm your host, Dan Dromarski, and with me today is Kierston Deal. You play softball. Not everyone knows and understands the sport of softball, do they? Now,
no.
Do they mistake it for baseball?
Typically.
They're kind of the
not
same.
Usually,
they're kind of the same game. They are very similar. Tell me the difference. If I'm just brand new to the whole thing with softball, the ball's not soft.
No, not at all. So a regular softball is 12 inches around, so it's a little bit bigger than a baseball. And then the biggest difference is the size of the field. So with softball, home plate to first base is 60 feet. So it's 60 feet all the way around. And then from home plate to the mound is 43 feet. When you're growing up, you start closer. So it goes 35, 40, 43 feet. And the ball is also smaller. So when you're growing up, you start with an 11-inch ball and then you move up to a 12-inch ball as you get older.
Okay, now
so I would say
compare the pitching distances for me. Major league is how far?
I think it's around 60 feet.
Okay, so it's about two thirds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a compressed baseball field.
Hmm. Yes, sir. Yeah. But I would say this is where I'm gonna, you know, touch on a little baseball people, but I personally think the softball is way harder than baseball because the timing of error and the amount of perfection that you have to have with softball is a lot more like complex than I would say with baseball because the baseball field from home to first base is 90 feet. So say you get a ground ball at third base and you bobble it with baseball, you could probably still throw the runner out at first. Well, with softball, the amount of speed and just the fast pacedness of the game, the person on first base is probably going to be safe every time. So I would say that's a
Oh,
big difference.
interesting. So you're really
Hmm.
trying to get that thing out of the park if you're up to bat.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
normal baseball, you're trying to do that too, but it's a
Hmm.
lot further. But at the same, you're right. You know what? I didn't even think about that. That actually
Hmm.
makes it harder to have fielding. Must be much more difficult.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And even with pitching. So everyone always says, "Oh, softball's not as hard as baseball, or they don't throw it as hard." Well, technically, because we're so much closer distance. So I'm a pitcher, so I'm pitching the ball at 43 feet. But then by the time I let go of it and release it after I like stride out, it's around like 38 feet at that point. And so they say the batter has only around like 8 seconds to decide whether they're going to hit the ball or not. So even just the amount of just hand-eye coordination and just the amount of skill that it takes to have to hit a softball. That's why with baseball, so like 60 miles an hour in softball is equivalent to 90 miles an hour.
Whoa.
So some girls, yeah, so some girls these days are throwing around 70, which is almost equivalent, like which is equivalent to 100 in a baseball field.
And you know what? It's really deceiving. Okay. Softball with a windmill pitch is extremely deceiving to read the release.
Hmm.
Unbelievable. Overhand, you can read a little bit how the guy's arm velocity is coming at you, but that windmill is deceiving.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And the cool thing about so baseball, everything is coming from overhead. So most of the time you're always going to get like a top spin on the ball. Some baseball players they can have like a little bit of a natural like rise run, but with softball, the coolest thing is you can do all of the different types of things. So it makes it even harder for the hitter. But we have rise balls, drop balls, curves, change ups, and now a lot of people like I personally throw an off speed, which is in between. So now a lot of people are going from 65 mile an hour to 45 mile an hour, and then have a pitch in the middle that's around 53, 52 that kind of create some different types of deception. So the game is growing and there's all different things that you never thought you'd have to think of and now they're relevant. So
I usually co-host this program with a gentleman, Dave Dawson. He does not like baseball.
okay.
He at all, period. And every time I have a running thing that I have with him. Every once in a while, I'll put a plug in for baseball, or I'll send something, and he's like, "Why are you sending me this garbage? Like the worst sport ever." Blah. And I gotta find a way to get him into love. I think baseball, softball. I think the format, the design of the game is wonderful. There is a element of extreme difficulty to playing the game. Not just,
Hmm.
and it's not just always about watching it for entertainment purposes. That ball coming at you, it hurts.
Yes, it does. Yeah. There have been some times, even as a pitcher, like a hitter has threw the ball back at me and it's left some bruises. Like it has done some damage. There's been times now too where um it's really nice though now they have Evo shields, so like an arm guard for your elbow, then they have leg guards now. So if you hit a foul ball into your leg, like it doesn't hurt as bad. And now they've even started making like a hand one so that when
Oh,
you're like holding the bat, because a lot of girls now the pitchers throw so hard that when it hits their hands, it breaks their hands. Like I know some friends that have broken their hands from like pitchers throwing the ball and hitting them in the hand. So
wow. That
yeah.
is absolutely wild. Now, North Carolina, you're from North Carolina. Is
Mhm.
softball, is it easily found? Kids grow up in North Carolina playing softball?
I would say typically not. Um, it is growing. I feel like the sport of softball is growing. I would say it's more of a West Coast thing. A lot of players, like in California and Arizona, those types of places, they play year round there. Which, as in North Carolina, you can't really do that because we do still get the snow and still get the winter and all those things. Whereas in California, they can play year round and just be able to grow their skills a little bit faster. So I would say typically here in North Carolina, softball isn't that known. I feel like it's becoming way more popular, just the sport in general, as you see with like AUSO, which is one of the new pro leagues. They've had it on ESPN and they just got a partnership with the MLB. So it's becoming a little bit bigger of a thing, which has been really cool. Um, but yeah, I would say mostly it's more popular in the Georgia, South Carolina area. So growing up, I was kind of always in that area. I played for a team that was out of um, South Carolina ish. So just having to travel to Charlotte, having to travel to South Carolina, do those things. That was kind of what it was like growing up.
Wow. It seems like I always love hearing about the origins of people's getting introduced to sports. Are you the only member of your family that got into softball? I believe your parents are athletes.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yeah. So my mom actually played softball and basketball at a 2-year college. And then my dad grew up playing baseball, football, basketball, all the things. So I have pretty athletic parents. But the funny story always is my mom continued to play slow pitch after. So my dad was always with her. And then they found out they were having me, and my dad was like, "Oh, she'll never be on the softball field. Like, she won't play softball. Like, she'll play something else." And look what happened. As you can see, guess he decided to play softball. But my parents were really supportive in all different types of sports. Growing up, I played almost everything. The only thing I didn't play when I was a kid was soccer. But then in 8th grade, once I found out you could be a little physical in soccer, I was like, all right, sign me up. Like, I'll just run and kick the ball and just be able to run around and pass it to my teammates. But overall, I fell in love with softball. But growing up, I played volleyball and basketball all throughout high school. So I got to continue to play multiple sports, and then just softball was my baby though. So
Okay, now there's a format? It's a full 9 innings, similar scorecard to a baseball. Tell me a little bit about some of the, I guess you'd say, outside of the size of the field and everything else in the game structure of softball. What could I look forward to in a softball game? What would I typically see as a moment of like, whoa, I didn't know that before?
yeah. So the only difference is though, it's softball's only 7 innings, so you
Oh,
have less time. Yeah,
okay.
so
So
you
it's
have less
so
time.
the field is compressed, the game itself is compressed. There's less time. Oh, so there's a lot of is there a big strategy in the game with the compressed
Yeah.
time?
So the really cool thing is in softball, I always said I loved softball as a sport because you can have all different types of just players, and specifically like body types, height, weights, like all these different types of things, because there's so much strategy to anything. So in softball, you can have the fast people, you can have the power hitters, you can have people at the bottom of the lineup that are just contact hitters that know how to get on base. You can have the people that are able to produce walks, which produce extra runs and extra base hits and all those different types of things. But I would say the biggest difference for sure is the strategy. A thing in softball that you'll see is typically a lot of right-handed throwers that are fast, that throw right-handed, they actually hit left-handed.
Oh,
And majority, yeah. And a lot of them, they call them triple threats. So a lot of them, like one of my best friends from college, her name is Riley Boone. She's an outfielder. She's a true lefty, but she is a triple threat. So she can hit left-handed, she can bunt in any position from the left side, and then she can slap also. So slapping is where, I don't know if you've heard of that or not, but it's where the left-handed hitter is actually taking steps as they're in the box. So usually they're running and they take a cross step over while still staying in the box. And so they're continuing to actually like run at the hitter, and then they just either like dink it or they try to hit a little chop. So they try to hit it hard on the ground, because then if they can bounce it as high as they need to, that their speed is so fast where they're safe every time.
you know what? I've seen that, and it's like
Hmm.
in Major League Baseball, you think of it as a bunt, but I think
Hmm.
I saw it and I was like, that's harder than a bunt. That's not
Hmm.
just placing it left, right field position, but you're actually trying to get not only an increase or decrease in velocity, but you're trying to almost like punch it over the pitcher.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's actually, when you've seen someone that do it really well, it's actually amazing to watch, because no matter where the pitcher is throwing it, whether it's super high, they can get over top of it and still hit it on the ground. Whether it's super low, they can just dink it over and be safe. And their speed takes care of it. So then usually it causes more of chaos with the infield because then you have to field super quick throw. And so then it ends up usually causing an overthrow or someone missed the ball and then they just keep running around and then they end up scoring. So,
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I'm going to give you a date. I'd like you to tell me and walk me through the emotions of this date. April 16, 2024. A game against Tulsa. Left-handed pitcher, KD, pitches
I think that's when I threw a no hitter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To walk me through the emotions of that one.
Yeah. So, that was my sophomore year. I actually got baptized a month before that, which was really cool. So at this point, I was just super free and just being able to continue to just strive with the Lord and kind of just go for a lot of my outings then. I was still fairly young in my career. So it was like, oh, I'm just going out here. Who knows what's going to happen, but we're just going to do it to our best of our abilities and just go out there and throw. And I just remember Tulsa, obviously, it's our in state, not a rival, but I mean, they always give us a good game. It's always super fun to play. And I think it was at the Hall of Fame Stadium, which is where they play the College World Series. It's in the city. So it's not our home field, but we get to play there quite a bit during the season. And so we were there, and there's been a couple times in my career where I've almost thrown one. And then, of course, the last inning, something random will happen, or I'll end up like giving up a little dink hit or something like that. And so everyone was like, don't say anything, don't say anything. And it was one of those games where um, we hadn't, I think we ended up run rolling in 5 innings, but we hadn't gotten there yet. So I finished throwing the 5th inning and I was like, okay, I could see something happening really good if we score maybe, I think it was like 1 or 2 more runs. And I think the coolest thing was I wasn't really thinking about the no hitter. I was thinking about how like our teammate walked it off so that we could like be done with the game. And then people were like, "Oh my goodness, guess what?" Like, and I was like, "Oh wait, no way!" And yeah, so it was just a really cool moment. And then I got to hug my coaches after that, and they were just saying how proud of me they were. But it was honestly super cool. Didn't really hit me until a little bit later in the season and stuff because it was kind of in the middle of the season. So I was like, oh, okay, we still have quite a bit left to go. But it was definitely really cool to be able to do that and just be surrounded by my teammates and my coaches that were so supportive. So,
You know, one of my favorite things about interviewing Christian athletes is the humility. After pitching a no hitter, you become a 2-time Big 12 Pitcher of the Week. So the following week, you're Pitcher of the Week. The week after, you're Pitcher of the Week. Well, that's a solid 3 weeks of ball. Like absolutely fantastic. That's an athlete to an athlete. That's got to be a pretty exciting moment. Like I bet you that was like your mom didn't stop smiling for that 3 week period. Now,
yeah, she was pretty excited.
Now, when you play ball, there's something called the Big 10 All Tournament Team. What is the Big 12 All Tournament Team?
Big 12. Mm-hmm. So that is basically within your conference tournament. It's basically just some of the standout players or just performances that happen, whether it's like a hitter that goes 3 for 4 in one of the games or just has a really great time throughout your tournament, or like a pitcher that has some pretty good performances or just pitched pretty well during that time, then you can be able to make it. So it's kind of like not like an all-star team of that, but it's just like after the tournament is over. It's like some people that were like standouts of that tournament. So,
and 2024 was a big year for you. I've done my homework. I do my best to do my homework. 2-time national champion. In 2023, you're national champion. You have an excellent spring, and then you become a national champion again in 2024. Like back to back. When you're young playing, is this the kind of stuff you dream of?
Yeah, I mean, it was very surreal. I remember. So I don't know if you know the history of like Oklahoma, but at this time when I was coming in as a freshman, they had already won 2 national championships in a row. So there was a lot of pressure kind of coming up on these seniors that are like finishing their seasons or just these juniors. And then I'm just a freshman over here, like, oh my goodness, like I just get to be surrounded by
Soaking
these
it up,
people.
soaking it up.
They've yeah, I'm like, they've already won all these. Like, who knows? I mean, I hope I get to win one, but I'm just here along for the ride, just like here to get to know them and do all these things. And um, to look now back at just seeing all the things that I was able to just experience throughout my college career, I could never be so grateful and just so blessed to be able to just be a part of them. It was just you never look at it, I guess, when you're in it because you're like, oh, it just keeps continuing. Like you're saying, like it was like national championship. And then I was like, all right, this fall we're getting ready again. And then the spring we're playing, the 3 weeks happen. And then bam, we win another one. And you're like, oh my goodness. And then you're like, let's do it again. So you just keep thinking that every year. But now as my college career has come to an end, it's been really cool to just look back and see it, all the just amazing blessings that have happened and things that have continued to happen. So
Okay, you're young. You've accomplished all these wonderful things in college. This is the Gospel in the Game Sports Podcast. We like to talk about sports, but we also talk about the gospel. Tell me a little bit about your life of faith.
Yes. So, a little bit about me. I grew up in a Christian household. Grew up going to church. I actually used to sing at my grandma's church. My grandparents, they live in Burlington. So, I was never the shy grandchild. I am his only child, but I have three cousins that are close in age. But I was never the shy one. And my grandma like grew up singing, and I would always just sing a little tune with her and stuff. And so she was like, "Oh man, like we should put her on stage." And I was like, "All right, like I will, like okay." So grew up having the little tracks and just the microphone in my hand, singing with my grandma at church, and continued to just sing like as I was growing up and things, and just continue to go to church and stuff. And as when you're young, you have that kind of childlike faith, like all those different things. You're doing the things we don't know, kind of just the intent and the purpose behind them. Um, and so then fast forward to high school, I would say I was not falling out of faith, but I think it was just a little bit of like my priorities just being, oh, like softball, like I want to get recruited, I want to go to college, I want to do these things, like sports, all those things. Um, and I ended up meeting one of my really good friends in high school, and her dad was a pastor. And so she was like, Katie, like, why don't you come to church with me on these Wednesdays? Like, we're having like a revival week. I think it'll be really good. You can just come back with me and just hang out, and then we can like go get dinner. I was like, okay, sure, sounds good. And so it was never that I was never, I guess, trying to push away the Lord, I would say. But I think there was not as much intent given that should have been there, just being able to pour back into him and just lean on him at any time. And yeah, so then I continued to go there and just have encounters with the Holy Spirit and just encounters with God and just feel his presence continuously through there. And so high school was really good for me to kind of just like start back like being on fire for Christ and being on fire for the Lord. And then I think the biggest blessing obviously was going to OU, where we do prioritize our faith, and like that is one of our biggest things that we talk about there, and just having Christ like teammates and just leadership that is not afraid to just proclaim the gospel and just talk about God in any conversation. And so then having some really great mentors like Grace Lyons, she was a fifth-year senior when I was a freshman. And she was really involved just with local churches and just ministry, FCA. We have a college ministry called Crossover at Oklahoma as well. And that's with a lot of regular students, but it's the same night as FCA. So all of the athletes would go to FCA first, and then we'd all go to Crossover after. And just all of the local ministries that are clubs at Oklahoma, it's really cool because I didn't know what the Bible Belt was until I went there. And I was like, oh, this is a part of the Bible Belt, which is really cool. Yeah. And so then continue to just get poured into throughout my college career and throughout my freshman year. And one of my teammates was like, Katie, would you want to get rebaptized? And I was like, oh my goodness, like, yes, like just to be able to say, like, I wanted to publicly redeclare my faith to the Lord and just understand then, like, I think I was baptized and like christened when I was a kid, but I would rather just go ahead and redo it right now and just be able to just publicly proclaim my faith again, which is really cool. And so we had it all set up, this is a big part of my testimony. I guess I'm kind of just running through my
No,
testimony right
you know
now.
what? This is no. See, this is great, Katie, because this is the story. God's given you an opportunity to share what He's done. This is I have this running thing this season, and then I'm going to let you continue.
Okay.
We say like so often throughout season 3, I've said we need eternity because it's going to take that long to tell about all the awesome things that Christ has done. And this right here is just a little bit of a snippet. It's a preview that everyone gets to have here on earth in order to have great expectations of the greater story, because there's so many things happening in the background that no one hears about. So yes, so you rededicate your life to Christ. What an awesome opportunity. One thing I do have to interject with, though, a good listener said to me, so many people use acronyms. It's a big thing. FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Yes.
And so I'm going to help the listeners out with that one. Tell me a little bit about rededicating your life to Christ and the purpose behind it.
Yeah. So for me, it was just a big oath and just an outspoken boldness that I wanted to just be able to create. I think with me on the field, I'm very bold with it, just whether it's strikeout, competitiveness, all of those things. And so if I can boast about all those things, like why can I not boast about the Lord and just be a great example of what that looks like? And the Lord is so funny. And this is my favorite part about my testimony and just the baptism and everything. And this is why I tell people, like, you can never say God doesn't have a touch of humor, because so after we won this is 2024, March, we had our winning streak going on. And this was a super big thing in NCAA at this point because we had held the record for the longest win streak. It was around like 73 games, 74 games, I'm not sure, this Sunday. And we already had a plan for me to be baptized. And this Sunday we're playing University of Louisiana, and we lost. Yeah. So win streak, everyone was looking at it, man, win streak is over. They're not going to win. Like, all these things are going to lose more games, like all the win streak, all these things. And I always just talk about obedience when it comes to just my walk and those types of things, and just having fellow Christian women beside me and just strong believers and followers of Christ, and just being able to be bold about their faith. They walked into that interview and just walked in obedience and said, we may have lost today, but there is a bigger win in heaven today because Kierston Deal is getting baptized, and that was like one of the most amazing experiences. And just God is just, I always tell people that, I'm like, you can't tell me God's not real, because that is hilarious. Like, He said, all right, you guys, we're not going to worry about anything else today, but we're just going to fix our eyes on Him. And just to have people around me and just amazing fellowship and just faith like women to be able to just act in obedience with that and just be so bold, I was like, man, why can I not start doing that? And so that was one of the coolest things, and just a testament to just people's faithfulness, like to just continue to bring me in God's character, just to continue to pour His heart out to me during that time. And then for me to just be an example of that to others, So I always love to share that story, because you never know what God can do in moments like those.
Yeah, isn't that so true? Because we often think of the wins, and you can go to the stats, and you've had a very successful college career, as you mentioned, in softball. And we can look at the successes, and often we measure people by their successes, don't we? And it's often, though, that we learn so much and we grow through failure. And I want to bring up another moment. Academics. Honor roll. Okay? Not only are you a strong athlete, but a smart athlete, but you mentioned a greater purpose. And so people are easy to put you up on a pedestal, but there's a greater story to tell, isn't there? Now,
100%.
how through softball has the Lord allowed you to tell others about him outside of your baptism?
A few seconds of your time while you are listening. Please like and follow the podcast. We appreciate your help. Now back to the gospel in the game.
Yeah. So a really great chaplain, our team chaplain was Sarah Roberts at the University of Oklahoma. And it was really cool because I was also part of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes lead team. So our football team chaplain was also the head person of FCA, which is Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And I was just able to just sit in and listen, and he would bring a lot of different speakers in. And we had someone come in one time, and he was speaking at Armenia that day, and he was like, how do you use your sport as a way of worship to the Lord? Not like, what are the specific things you do, but how do you specifically worship the Lord through your sport? And so I got to thinking about that. I was like, man, like, I know like we pray before the games and like we do all of those types of things, but how can I for sure be bold in just what I'm doing? Like, and how can I start out the game, start out just my mindset, different things of fixing my eyes on the Lord and knowing that thing that I'm doing here is going to be worship to him and not worship for myself. Whether that's like, oh, I'm pitching really bad, I just gave up a home run. Like, how can I worship the Lord through that? Like, I'm able to still be truthful and just be honest with him and just feel his presence while I'm throwing, to be able to have that freedom and have that confidence in going into those things. But one of the coolest things was my junior year, I decided to make my walkout song Praise by Elevation Worship. But at the beginning, it's super cool because it kind of starts out with like everyone clapping. And Coach Gasso was really big on, okay, we need to get songs that maybe get the crowd going and things like that. And she heard that I was doing that song. She was like, oh my goodness, like, you have to keep it. You have to do it. And there, I have a video from that year of me doing it. Or it actually was like on social media. And someone posted it. And you can see all of the crowd, like when I came in, and everyone is like clapping their hands. And I think that was one of the coolest things. And me and my coach were able to have like a conversation about that. She was like, Kierston, no matter what, they might not know what they're clapping for, but they're clapping for the Lord. Like, this is praise to him. And because you're able to just use one little walkout song for this, like that goes like so far. Cause I mean, we have around 4,500 fans at our game every single time, you know?
Wow.
And so no matter, it's insane. And so she was like, no matter like who's in this, they could be clapping and they have no idea why, but we know why they're clapping, you know? Or just seeing some of my teammates that hadn't given their life to Christ, or just trying to pull them in, and the people that we've been praying for and things like that, just to see them raise their hands was amazing for not only me, but just like our staff and just people around us. So that was a really cool thing.
I'm going to go a little bit back in time to something that you touched on a little bit. High school is a difficult time. Not just for athletes, but for people in general. I think it's, I always tell people we have something. So our junior high here in Canada is 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11, 12 is high school. In the US, it's 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's a big 4-year. There's a big difference between someone who's first going in high school and someone graduating, age-wise, maturity-wise, so much. It's a difficult period of time. And everything you've discovered, so many things of that was great. And you mentioned, what are some of the mental hurdles that someone who's progressing into college and developing as an athlete and as a person, what are some hurdles that they have to overcome in high school, outside of maybe confidence and some of the ones that are like just evident right off the bat? What are some of the things that maybe you discovered about yourself that you had to push through in order to propel yourself into college?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing, a lot of people don't realize, is like the amount of sacrifices that you have to make. A lot of times, like the Friday night football games, like I was either missing them because I had to travel to go play in these tournaments, or I remember homecoming, I begged my mom for me to be able to like walk in it. And so I got to, but literally right after it was done, we had to leave, you know, like it was just those types of sacrifices that were obviously kind of hard because during that time is when you're trying to be social and create friends and just do all those things. And I think I had to put in check really fast of what my priorities were at the time, um, because I knew that it would help me succeed later on, is a big thing. But I always say when you surround yourself with like-minded people, a lot of times you'll never feel like you're having to sacrifice anything because you're doing what you love with the people that you love that are allowing you to just be able to, I mean, set your dreams the highest and just try to achieve those things. So, and then another one, the biggest one that I personally struggled with was perfection. So I originally was committed to the University of South Carolina, which is close to home, obviously. I got recruited during COVID. So in softball, September 1st of your junior year is the first time that college coaches can talk to you about recruiting and going to college. Well, that year was 2020 for me, so it was COVID. And so I got recruited off of Zoom. So sitting in a meeting just like this with coaches and just having tours of schools, it was crazy. You never believe the time that we were in. It was wild. And so that looked really different. So then I just decided to go ahead and commit to South Carolina because it was really close to home, and I knew my family could drive down there easily and stuff. And so then when everything reopened, I ended up having a really great summer. And I was like, man, I just want to reopen it just to see and have a real, like, true experience, you know? And never in a million years that I thought like the number one team in the country would call me or all these schools would be able to do this. I mean, it was just an amazing blessing from the Lord, honestly. And so got to do that. And so I ended up committing, and I don't know why, but I just struggle with the amount of like, it was like they put two big like building blocks just like right on me, and my shoulders were down of just the amount of pressure that I was putting on myself because I was like, man, now that I'm like going to OU, like they're national champions, like I have to pitch perfect all the time. I have to do this perfect. I have to like just eat right all the time, do this all the time, like make sure I'm working out, like all these things, pitching, like I can't give up any hits or any home runs or have to have this amount of strikeouts. I really struggle with that. And it actually took a toll on me for sure my senior season in travel ball. And I just remember having conversations of why did I get picked to do this? Like, I don't think I'm good enough. All those kind of doubtful perfection questions that I think a lot of high schoolers struggle with, because that's the time when you want to be your best, but you have to learn how to just like, softball is a game of failure for sure. As I was saying, how fast it is and all these things. Like, it's crazy to think those types of sports, you can hit the ball 3 out of 10 times and that's considered really good. Like, that's batting 300, like 3 out of 10 hits, which is crazy. Yeah. So just having to think about how much failure there already is in the game, pressure was a really big thing for me. And just, I remember having so many conversations, and that's honestly too what I really loved about my faith and like my walk as well, is because that was the time that I continued to start going to church. And I think I always talked about when I was in the presence of the Lord, like I was free. Like that's the only way I could describe a lot of my really good outings, was like I was just free. Like I was just throwing ball. I didn't care where it went, what was going on. I was laughing. I was having fun. Like you could see the joy like radiating off of me, and the freedom to just be able to just go out there. And I think that's a big thing that sometimes high schoolers struggle with, just because you want to be good. Like you want to be the best of the best all the time. And, you know, life is not like that, you know? And I think that's the coolest thing about just like faith and just learning about God and religion and just Christianity and self. Like you never know what the Lord can bring to you and just the freedom that you can have. And truly, that's the only reason how I am able to just continue to just persevere and just be like courageous and bold in all of those things, is truly from Him. And I just think that's one thing that I always try to start with high schoolers and young kids that I'm able to just work with pitching or anything, just talking about the joyness and the freedom that you can have just from the Lord. So
we started this season 3 with a lot of interviews with people who were part of support systems, chaplains, coaches, people that were put in the framework, and lots of them were professional athletes previously, and now they provided supports for people that are in your position, college athletes or turning into pro athletes. Now going from high school to college, you obviously missed the odd Sunday of church. How was your church family able to support you and encourage you being an athlete that can't make it every Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was just making sure that the heart posture was right. I think that's one of the biggest things that we continue to talk about, and just being supportive, whether that was trying to rewatch what happened on Sunday. That's the really cool thing I think that I love about churches now is a lot of things are recorded. Obviously, going in person is the best, but being able to have those recordings after and just sitting down as a family and just looking over them, being able to have small Bible studies, little devotionals, just having worship music on continuously. I think all of those are little things. Um, and I feel like as long as you're coming to the Lord and just church members, anyone with an open and honest heart of just where your heart is at, I think the Lord always welcomes us with honesty and just love and truth. And so being able to come to Him with that as well, I think that's the biggest thing. And then just having supportive people around you and just higher leadership that can have those honest and truthful conversations of maybe we need to reanalyze this. Maybe we need to do a little bit more here, a little bit less here. But I think just when the heart posture is right, that's where it kind of starts, and just prayer. I think that's the biggest thing as well. I think when you're able to actually not necessarily continue to pray to the Lord, but also sit in that quiet time and like listen. I think that's the biggest thing now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? You open up a can of worms here. I'll tell you why. James explains that we need to be quick to listen, slow to speak. And I think so often when you're reading through Psalms and you come across this word Selah, Selah means to pause and reflect upon what you've just learned. As an athlete, majority of athletes get it. You need to have preparation, and part of that is just focus, mental focus. As youth would call it these days, dialing in is the phrase that they like to use. What does that mean to you to dial in as a Christian athlete? Because some people will listen to self-help, some people will just listen to nothing. How does the Lord direct your steps in preparation as an athlete? We hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you'd like to support us or you'd like to see this podcast grow in your area, drop us a line. Send us an email, send us a message. We'll send you some details on how you can support, how you can encourage us. There's always more people to reach with the gospel in the game.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's just, I think having a time of worship. And then for me, I like to sit in stillness, whether that was like a drive, whether that was like just in my room. I have like a little chair and then I have like a corkboard that just has like some of my favorite Bible verses and just readings that I've done recently. Just sitting there and just opening the word and just prayer, honestly. Like, I think just like my quiet time when I was able to prioritize that in regards to just all of the other things. I learned also my senior year of college that for me to personally be at my best, I had to also prioritize community and fellowship with my sport as well. So, like, even if I was tired, like after practice, like I knew I wanted to go to FCA and I knew I wanted to go to crossover. Like, those were two non negotiables because I knew during that time, like, I was surrounded in fellowship with like minded Christian athletes. They were going to help me, but also hold me accountable as well. And I think that's a big thing, especially when you're a little bit younger in high school and just those things, because having faith without accountability as a younger adult is hard, I think.
Yeah, good point.
I think that is very challenging. Not saying it can't be done, but I do think it's very challenging because you're also still newer to your faith. And so being able to walk alongside people, but also have your own walk with the Lord, I think that is the coolest thing because then you can have those amazing, like equipful, yoked conversations with people around you and just be able to share the gospel. Like what you're saying. I mean, if we're sitting at a coffee shop just talking about what the Lord's done in our life that day and then someone just listening. I mean, being able to have those accountability times where you can just sit and just talk to someone about, hey, I'm really going through this right now. and they can be like, you know what, like, let me pray for you right now, like those types of things. I think those are such big things that, you don't really realize when you're younger, but now me looking back to be able to have those types of people throughout my walk, freshman year and sophomore year of college, like I am so grateful for those people as well.
I love two things that you mentioned. A lot more than two things, but two things I'm going to point out. One is having someone that will pray for you in the moment, because years ago, I decided that if I was going to say to someone, you know what, I'll pray for you, I'm praying right there, right now, right in this moment, not just tomorrow morning. No, it's just like, I'll do that then too. But right now, let's go talk to God. The greatest source of power in the whole wide world is right there in front of us. Tap into it. Talk to the Lord. The second thing is, and this is something that we've been going over a lot this season, is the need for a mentor. Someone who is old enough to relate, at the same time, someone that is purposely put in your life, no matter what their age is and experience, that you can talk to and just even bounce something off of that will push you back to the Lord. I think that's the greatest thing about a Christian mentor is they don't pull you to themselves. They push you back to the Lord. And growing up, did you have people like that through high school, through university, younger age, that would push you back to the Lord?
Yeah, I definitely think, especially coming to college, that was one of the biggest things. And I'm very grateful for it, because college can be scary at times, especially like for me, Oklahoma. I went 16 hours away from my home. Like, for my parents to come see me, it's a plane ride or it's a 2-day drive trip, like they weren't just there to be like, all right, I need to go get dinner with them. Like, I'm feeling this type of way. And so I think mentorship was such a big thing. I think for me, it kind of was from different people, which I really loved, just being able to surround myself by I had obviously some that were like knew about softball. I had people that had no idea about softball, which was really cool, because then I truly learned what Kierston was outside of my sport. I think the biggest thing too is a lot of kids struggle with identity these days because of the perfection aspect and just because of all those things. I think your idols and identities can become wrapped up into a sport and just a dream specifically, and you don't really realize who Kierston is as a person, or just who I am outside of the sport. And so I think those are big things. So I loved being able to talk to people that had no idea about like what I did on the field. Like, they could care less about that. Like, they did not care at all. And then also having people that were there though that understood what it was like. I think that's a really hard thing as well. Sometimes with being a collegiate athlete, a lot of people don't kind of understand all of the mental tolls and just all of the outside factors, whether it's just the culture of just where you are, different things like that. I mean, there's so many different things that you just would never think about. And so being able to have someone that's kind of in it with you is really nice as well. But I know people, like some of my teammates, they preferred to talk to mentors that had no idea about anything so that they could like just say it how they wanted to say it. And then some people are like, no, I could see you're kind of upset today, or I could see these types of things. Like, how are you doing? What's going on? But no, mentors, it's still so important. I want to try to lean in more into that as I'm getting into my master's degree with our local church in Norman, and just get plugged in there with small groups and stuff like that. But yeah.
And I think one of the things that's really important, not only with mentors, and you talked about relatability and people that can relate with you and come alongside you and support you. And in our season 1 of our podcast, we went over so many subjects that I think mentors go over with athletes and chaplains and FCA or athletes in action or different things people are a part of. And subject matter is important because if someone can relate with you on that level, or maybe like you said, someone's just a listening ear that won't see you as an athlete, but sees you as a person first, because that's what you were before you ever were an athlete. You were a person. And then when you're done being an athlete, guess what? You're a person. And so, and during the whole process, you're still a person. And so I think it's so often it's great to have people come alongside us and don't just push the athlete first, because I think if the person breaks down, the athlete's going to break down.
100%. Yeah.
Now, a lot of the stresses you talked about being in college and relatability, if you could go back in time travel back in time, talk to the younger version of yourself. Maybe there's a young athlete that's listening in right now because they caught a glimpse, said, "Oh, a softball player," or "Oh, they knew about, or they had heard about you," and therefore they're listening and they're younger. Give them a piece of advice. What would you tell them?
A few seconds of your time while you are listening. Please share this episode on your social media and tell what has impacted you through this episode. The more listeners like you share, the more people know about the gospel in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, honestly.
It's
I would
not
just
it's not
say
as tough
that,
of a question as sweet tea or no sweet tea, but
yeah. Honestly, I would just say that personally, I knew sometimes that I was kind of like on my own path when it comes to just like sports and just social life and things like that. And I think just to like, I would remind myself as a kid to just continue to do that because you never know what your dreams and just your work ethic can lead to and like the people that it can lead you to. And I think that just like puts an oath to just like your parents and just having support system around you. I think never take for granted the people that are supporting you and just around you because you never know what that could lead to just with family or just leading them to Christ. Like, I think that's one of the coolest things, like being able to be an example of my family of what it looks like to boast about the Lord and do those types of things and just be reminded of what joy looks like and all those things. I think younger me would just say, continue to just love the game and just love people. I think right now in our world and society, like there's a lot of distractions and just a lot of worldliness that continues to happen. And if you can be that one person that just shows that joy from the Lord or just that kindness and that just faithfulness of what that looks like, that you never know. Someone could just see that and be like, oh, why is she always so happy? Or why is she always just laughing? Or those things and just sparks of those conversations. So I would say just continue to be joyful and just continue to just live life for the Lord.
yeah, and the distractions of the world is a big thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we live in a day and age where, boy, even 10 years ago, could you see this kind of thing coming? Everything being thrown at you. Life just seemed simple 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago.
For sure. No, yeah. I mean, back then I just had to make sure I was in the car ready to go and then I could just go wherever. Now I'm having to make sure I'm dressed at this time, my alarm set, all the things, like all the stuff. Yeah.
Well, this is exciting. Our goal is to interview many Christian amateur athletes, college athletes, university athletes, tell their story, tell where the Lord is at. Outside of softball, do you have any passions? Wait, hold on a second. You talked about singing. I heard that you pull off an incredible national anthem.
I may or may not do that sometimes. I would say that was the coolest thing too. My senior year, I got to sing the national anthem for our women's gymnastics team. And a lot of the fans that are fans of women's gymnastics are also fans of softball. And I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. So I showed up and then a lot of people in the crowd there, I could hear them. They're like, is that Kierston? Like, is that Kierston Deal? Like, this is play softball, which is hilarious. And so then I got to do it. And then the next week I think we had a game. And so everyone there was like, I didn't know you could sing. Like, we heard you sing and it was so good. So yeah, that was cool. And then I actually got to sing worship at my coach's church this past fall, which was really cool. So that was, yeah.
Very special. Very special.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a portion of our show that we're going to go into now. We give you 5 fast questions. You have to be on your toes, think fast responses. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right. Here's all the hype. Okay, Chick-fil-A's closed. No sweet tea for you today. What's your go-to drink, hot or cold, if you're a fan of softball?
Oh, fan of softball. I would say a lot of people in Oklahoma drink Dr. Pepper. It's like really popular.
Dr. Pepper. I was down in Texas years ago, and someone was like, "You have to have a dirty Dr. Pepper." I'm a dirty Dr. Pepper. What is like? You're trying to like half Diet Coke, half Dr. Pepper?
Oh, I've never heard of that one. A lot of people put like sweeteners in their drinks here. Like, have you heard of Swig? It's like a soda shop.
No, oh no, okay. Soda shops are becoming a big thing.
Oh,
There's a podcast called Ghost Runners Podcast in the States, and they had the suggestion of opening a restaurant or a store called Just Drinks, where only you have
oh.
only you serve soda or pop or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And the amount of these places that are opening up these days that all they have is like combinations of like pop and mixes and drinks. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot here. Yeah.
Okay, so
So
tell
people,
me what the Dirty
there's a
Dr.
place.
Pepper is then.
Yeah, it's called, I think, the Texas Tab. It's at Swig, but I've never had it. But my friends, they love Dr. Pepper, so they always drink it. But I think it's Dr. Pepper, coconut cream, and then like vanilla cream inside of it. So it's called like a
Oh,
dirty one because they put different sweeteners and different additives or different stuff in it. Um, yeah, and so they have that, which they really like it. I've never had it, but they say
okay.
it's good.
We can talk about it. That's like right now. I'm on month like 7 of no pop, and I'm a huge
Mm,
Pepper fan. So right now, I'm just going to take a drink from my water bottle
okay.
and enjoy that, and we'll just run with that
Yes,
one right now.
sounds good.
Okay, very good. Okay, we'll get off that subject. Yeah, you got to go to the future now. Okay, talk to the future self. If you are going 20 years in the future and you want to remind Katie about something about the Lord, what are you reminding yourself of?
I feel like I would want to remind myself, like, never take advantage or just like never get still of like the gifts and talents and like moments and memories that he's given me. I think singing is a big one, especially because like when I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just get on the stage. Like I had no fear, no anything, and then kind of didn't do it a lot, and then now I've like been able to do it again, and everyone's like, you have a voice. Like being able to use that for the Lord is like one of the things you can always do or just say, and just I think continue to never underestimate the gifts and just the things that you have received and how blessed you truly are. Like no matter what it looks like when you're older, I think those are big things. Or just like how far you've come and like where the Lord has brought you. I think that's a big thing because I don't know exactly what the future holds. Obviously, I know with the Lord with me, like we'll see what happens. But and obviously it's his plan for sure. But I think just reminding myself of just how good he's been in my life already, I think will always set me up for gratitude and just gratefulness of him throughout my whole entire life. So
That reminds me of a good line. Billy Graham once said, I don't know what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. Gotta love that one. Gotta love that one. Okay, if you were to play another sport, what would you play professionally?
professionally. I'm gonna say volleyball.
Oh,
I
okay.
think yeah, I would say volleyball. I really liked basketball too, but I just think I'm only around like 5'8" ish on a good day, 5'7" without shoes on, 5'8" with shoes on. So I would say
On a good day.
yeah, the WNBA, I just wouldn't be able to do it. But I think with volleyball, I was a DS libero, so I was already in the back row, so I like just dig the balls and stuff. And there's no height requirement for that one, so I feel like I would be fine.
Okay, good.
So
Not everyone picks ice hockey, so you might as well grab volleyball.
it's true.
That's so good. Do you have a favorite verse, a favorite Bible verse to encourage you?
Yeah, my favorite Bible verse, I would right now at least. Well, it's continued to be my favorite Bible verse through my whole career, but it was Second Corinthians 12:9, and I got it on my glove, and it's when Paul is kind of praying to the Lord like 3 times, like, why have you forsaken me? Like, why are you doing these things? And then he just says, my strength is all you need, for my power works best in weakness. And then it says, no, so now I can boast about the Lord because of what Christ has done in my life.
Hmm.
So I think that's one of the biggest ones because I think no matter how many times like you're thinking of like your weaknesses and your worries, like the Lord will use those for his strengths and for his glory every single time. So it was a great reminder, especially when I was pitching. If I was pitching bad, I was looking at my glove. I was like, all right, his power works best in my weakness.
And
So,
it's so great
yeah.
that his power works. His
Yes.
power works in your weakness. Oh, what a rich verse that one is. So good.
Mhm.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then it's like, so now I can boast about the Lord. I'm like, you're right. Now I can just say it. Like,
Yeah. Boom. Attention. Back to God. Weird how that happens.
exactly.
Oh, so good. So good. Well, we were going to love to have you on again. I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Who's your greatest fan?
My greatest fan?
Yeah.
My mom, for sure. For sure. Which I love her for it. Yeah, I would say my mom. This past season, or my senior season, she drove to almost every tournament and every game that we played, or if it was in California, she flew, but she didn't miss, I don't think, any series this year for my senior year. So
Wow, super fan.
mhm.
Well, let's pray. We'll say thanks for moms at the same time.
Okay.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for Katie and the time that you've been able to give to us together today. And Lord, we thank you for the wonderfulness that you have bestowed in her life. And Lord, you've given her success in softball, and she knows you, and that is even a greater success. And Lord, we just pray that she would continue to give you glory, honor, and praise in all that she does. And thank you for moms that support us and love us, no matter how successful we are or aren't. You've blessed us with moms. And Lord, we thank you most of all for our Savior. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
If you have enjoyed this episode, please follow the podcast and let us know your feedback. This podcast is listener supported, and you can be an encouragement to us by sharing this episode with others. With your help, we can reach more people with the gospel in the game.